Hello, let's continue our Sudoku adventure with Lattice by Randall. So we have normal 6x6 Sudoku rules, so in each row, each column, and each 2x3 box, we are placing the digits 1 to 6 exactly once each. We also have these red lines in the grid. These are called parity lines. What they do is parity is just the property of a number being even or odd. And so these flip parity as it moves along the line. So if this was a 2, the parity of 2 is even. So 2 is even. So this needs to be the opposite parity. This has to be odd. It has to be 1, 3, or 5. And then the next one then needs to go back to even. We could do a 2 again if we wanted. We could do 4. We could do 6. But let's say we did 2 again, and then this needs to be odd. Maybe it would be a 3. So the point is that they alternate even, odd. We don't know if it starts with even or odd. This could be odd, in which case we go even, and then odd, and then even. All right. We also have these green lines in the grid. These are the thicker green lines. These are German whisper lines. So the way these work is 2 digits that are adjacent on the line, like these two, need to have a difference of at least 3. So if this was a 2, what digits have at least a 3 difference from 2? Well, 1 has a 1 difference, 2 has a 0 difference, 3 has a 1 difference, 4 has a 2 difference, 5 has a 3 difference. So 5 works, and 6 has a 4 difference, so 6 works. So the answer is 5 or 6. And then from there, we need to have at least a 3 difference from, say, this 5. We could go down to 1, for example. That would be fine. So we just keep going like that. And then finally, we have these black dots in the grid. These are ratio dots, 1 to 2 ratio. So the digits that they touch must have a 1 to 2 ratio, meaning 1 is exactly double the other. So if this was a 2, this could be 1, because 2 is double 1. Or this could be 4, because 4 is double 2. And that is it. Those are the rules. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle yourself. And I'm going to get started right now. All right, the first thing I'm noticing is this chain of black dots here, because there's only one way to do that in a 6x6. If you want to think about it, we're going to have to start with a low digit, say the low digit was here, and then we have to double it, and then we have to double it again. So we need a low digit that can be doubled twice. So the 1 works. We can do 1, 2, 4. Even if we make this a 2, the next lowest digit, 2 doubles to 4, which then doubles to 8. In a 9x9, we could do that, but in a 6x6, we can't. The reason we can't go back down to 2 is we're in the same row. That's important. It's important that these two can't be the same digit. But so yeah, that means that 1, 2, 4 is the only option. Or we could go 1, 2, 4 this way. We don't know which end has the low digit. So the middle is always a 2, and it's surrounded by a 1, 4 pair. 2 is even, so I'm going to make it blue for even. So 2 on a German whisper line. There's kind of an interesting concept in German whisper lines that the difference of 3 is specifically tuned to do, which is that they always alternate low-high. I'm going to call low a 1, 2, or 3, and high a 4, 5, 6. We've segmented the number of digits in half. From a low, you have to go to a high, and from a high, you have to go to a low. You can't stay within the low range because no 2 digits in the low range have a difference of at least 3. And you can't stay within the high range because no 2 digits in the high range have a difference of at least 3. So you're always going to alternate low, high, low, high, low, high. You don't know if you're starting with low or high. But since we know that this is low, we know this has to be, these both have to be high. So they're from 5 or 6. They can't actually be 4 because 2 is too close to 4. And then from the high, we have to go back to low. So this is from 1, 2, 3. Now that is on a black dot. I'm sure there's probably other things to look at, but let's look at this right now. So it's on a black dot. So if it was a 1, we'd have to double it to 2. If it was a 2, we could go back down to 1 or double it to 4, and 3 could go to 6. So that's how we pencil that. I did also notice this right at the start, but I wanted to start here, is that we have 2 black dots here. So there's basically 2 groupings of black dots that can happen. One of the groupings is 1, 2, 4, like what we talked about here. It's always going to involve the 2, and it's going to be with a 1 or a 4. But since it always involves the 2, we can't also do a 1, 2, 4 over here. Notice we would have way too few. We'd have 3 digits in 4 cells. So this would need to use the 2, and this would need to use the 2. It doesn't work. So the only other option is 3, 6. So we're going to either have, one of these black dots will be from the 1, 2, 4 group, and one will be from the 3, 6 group. What does that leave behind over here? Well, definitely the 5. You can't ever put a 5 on a black dot. Can't double to 10, can't half to 2.5. But it's also going to be the 1, 4 we don't use for this guy. So these are only 1, 4, 5. Now we don't know the order these go in, so we're going to erase that. But that does create a 1, 4, 5 triple in this column, meaning that this is not a 5. It has to be the 6, and the remaining 2 digits are 2, 3 pair. Right, so that makes this low. So this is from 5 or 6. In order to do a 4, you have to be with a 1, right? So this is also 5, 6. But remember, 5 can't go on a black dot, so this is the 6, 3. And this is the 1, 2, 4 and contains the 2. Now that points in here. This 2 looks in. This isn't 2, so that places a 2 here. Now remember that this is a parity line, which we're finally using. So this has to be odd. And 1 is used over here, so this is 3 or 5. All right, the rest of this column is 1, 4, 5. Let's see. What can I say about any of this? The 2s are here. Let's do some coloring. These are blue, and this is orange. And that's on a parity line, right? So these 2 are even, and this one's odd. So in order for this to be even, it has to be 4. So that's the 4, that's the 1, which is odd. So before I forget, we'll make these even and then these odd. And let's reconcile that. So this is from 1, 2, 4. It can't be the 1. This can't be 4 anymore. This can't be 4 anymore. Oh, and this is odd, so it is 1 or 5. This is also odd. This is even, so it's also not a 1. Yeah, so 2, 4 pair. 3, 5 is odd. I should have marked that. That's our 5. So this has to be low. That's 1. That's 5. 5 is odd. This is also odd. This is our 3 and 1. Okay, that all works. Lots of ways to resolve that. 1 or 4, which one's even? The 4 is. That's 1. So this is odd. So this is from 4, 5, 6, but it can't be 4, so it's 5, 6. In fact, these are all 5, 6. But this is odd, so this has to be 5, making that the 6, which is even. We get the 6 here, which is even. All right. This is only 1 or 2 now, so this can't be a 3. This is a 1, 2 pair. Yeah, this can't be 4 because of the German whisper line. Let's see. This row finishes with an odd. This is a 3, 5 pair. This is definitely a 4. That's 2 and 4. The rest of this column is odd. That's on a parity line, so these are even, and this is odd. Even has to be 2. That's 3, which is odd. 3, 6, 3. Interesting. Or 6, 3, 6. 1 or 5. 1 or 3. This is definitely a 5. That's 6, which is even. 6 can be with 1 or 2, but we know it's odd, so that's our 1. That's 3. That's a 2, which is even. I suppose one thing which we may have been able to use, I'm not sure, I never used it, is that a black dot always contains at least one even number, because the low digit gets doubled to the high digit. When you double a digit, it's always going to be even. This is 5, this is 3. 3 has to go with 6 on a German whisper line. It's the only thing that's 3 away. This is a 1. This is a 2, just by Sudoku. Let's finish coloring. This has to be orange for the column. This has to be orange. It's a 5. And this has to be even. It's a 4. So this is 3 and this is 4. All right. Cool puzzle, Randall. I feel like there were lots of ways to approach this, which is absolutely, a good thing for this series. We want that to be approachable. But I feel like the way I approached it did flow very nicely. So always somewhere new to look. I enjoyed that puzzle. Let me know how you did. And if you enjoyed this, why don't leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.